What's up, YouTube Gen X? I think women, especially your educated women, because let's keep it real, the women that are doing this sort of, we don't need a man, or, it's a new day, these are your women that are your educated women, your professional women. With black women, not so much because they're professional and educated, but more so because black men don't really have uh, that sort of clout when it comes to education and professionalism or whatnot, right? What I would like for y'all to do is to honestly sit back and understand why you guys have historically liked your type A, assertive, go-getter, traditional, bread-winning sort of man. Why? Because right now you guys are failing because you assumed that you wanted those men solely because of the fact that you guys couldn't make money, right? So when it came to making money and, funding a lifestyle, that was something reserved just for men. So now that we're living in a world where women are making more, right? Because certain doors are open and other doors are being closed to men. So now women are in positions where they're making more money, and in certain cases they are, I guess, the breadwinners. You have this idea that we no longer need these men, right? And you guys say it as if you truly mean it, but it's pretty simple to call out the contradiction. I've been in classes where we're talking about equality and how a man or how a woman can make just as much money as a man, and how come she can't be the head honcho, and then I'll raise my hand and say, that's fine. But why is it that when it comes to marriage and all that other good stuff, you want a man to be that sort of head honcho? I want him to be making more money than me. But you said you wanted to be the head. So how can I be making more money than you? How can I have more power than you when you're saying you want just as much power as me? And I've put that out there, and literally, I've shut down the discussion. I didn't mean to, but I've made that statement before, and there was no response, no rebuttal. It was like, damn, you know what? You're right. I got to think about that one. And oftentimes, women haven't thought about it, right? There's more to why you guys have always wanted that sort of type A, assertive, traditional breadwinning sort of man, right? It's like men saying, hey, we have prostitution, we have strippers, we have call girls, so why do we need women? Why do we need marriage, right? Women are only good for sex, and prior to, prostitution and whatnot, I had to get married, right, to have sexual encounters frequently. And men are like, yeah, we no longer need women, we have prostitutes or whatnot. No, like, we would be a fool. Women would say, you guys are foolish, right? We bring more to the table. Yes, apart from our, being able to sexually please you, we bring more to the table, right? So yeah, we live in a world where prostitution is available. I'm not going to say it's legally available, depending on where you live, but it's available nevertheless, right? You got strippers, and, you got those strippers that will go the extra mile, right? We've all been to a couple of bachelor parties, right? Some of the girls are like, no, I don't do this, that, and the third, but some are like, I'm down for it, right? But nevertheless, men still understand why we still need women, apart from, having them to be these sexual objects or whatnot. Even when it comes down to marriage, it's not so much that men are against marriage, we're against the legal side of marriage. We're against that part of marriage in regards to how the state can come through and dictate how we operate, right? That's what we're against, but overall, men understand why women are important and why we need to have relationships with women, right? The whole fact that we can go off and get a prostitute or go get a stripper isn't going to cut it. But you sit back and you're like, as women, I'm not even going to say all women, but the women that are trying to lead this sort of new thought or this new viewpoint, I'm like, maybe you guys should sit down and think it out, because you guys are already stumbling, Like I said before, you got women saying, I don't need a man. Okay, what type of man do you want? And then it's like you're saying that you want the man that you said you don't need. Or you want the man to have more power, but you just told me you want to have just as much power as the man. Right? There can only be one Michael Jordan. The women want to act as if they can be the female Michael Jordan, right? And they can go off and get the male Michael Jordan. There can only be one Jordan. So if you want to be Jordan, fine. But don't tell me you want a Jordan, right? That's above you. It doesn't happen that way, right? So women understood, hey, let me be a role player. Let me be a Scottie Pippen or, a Dennis Rodman or a Luke Longley or, one of the other role players on the Bulls, right? And then let me say, hey, I want my Michael Jordan to run my team, right? But now you have this new thought, and it's like it's not even complete. It's like you're trying to publish a paper. You didn't spell check it, right? You didn't format it correctly, and we're just picking it apart. We're just picking it apart. Like I said, for a lot of men, we can understand this idea of it's a new world or whatnot. So let's all sit down and refigure how men and women are supposed to operate. Willie P just talked about it. And I made this point before as well about the whole idea of it's not so much about women wanting to be modern and wanting to be new. It's this idea that they want to hold on to certain components that benefit them. You have to do it wholesale. You have to do it wholesale. It's like sometimes when you want to update a computer, right, and there's a part that you want to update, but in order for you to update that, you have to update the other parts of the computer as well. The motherboard and the memory and the hard drive, right? So it's a sort of wholesale sort of change. So oftentimes when you try to, when you want to upgrade your computer, you figure out that you're better off buying a brand new one, right? Because you're going to have to update all the components and all the little bits and pieces here anyway, right? And that's what we're saying. If you want to go that route, I'm not saying that we can agree, but I'm saying that we can have the conversation, and the women are coming through and they're presenting a new model for how men and women should operate, right? Where we're redefining manhood and womanhood, but now it's not like that. Y'all want the old, but the only part that's going to change is how you fit in, right? That's it. And you sit back and you're like, this is a sloppy presentation. It's a very sloppy presentation. I'm going to have to give it an F. Come back in 10, 20 years with something more complex. You think about what you want, right? Because right now you're failing because you thought that men and women operated traditionally simply because men were the main financial earners. Right? But now that you're in a position where you have money and you can support yourself as an adult woman, we have to go back to the drawing board. Right? You underestimated what these men brought to the table. Once again, it's like me underestimating what women bring to the table by saying that we can all go off and, call on our favorite prostitute whenever we need a sexual release, or we can go spend money on our favorite stripper, or go, call some phone sex hotline, or go get some call girl, right? But we'd be fools, and women would say, you're underestimating what women have brought to the table and, what we bring to your life, right? So you as men need to go back to the drawing board, right? So that's my vid. Y'all take it easy. God bless.